All right, we're back, and we're moving through round six. We're going to put up on the screen kind of the mid-round results of how things are playing out, in case you have players you're trying to follow or archetypes you're trying to look in on. And okay, and that's and it's not loading.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
instead of that, what we're going to do is we're going to take. If you were here this morning, you saw Becky and I go through and talk about some decks that we pulled from the Magic Online deck dump and kind of what we thought about them. Some of them incorporating new cards, some of them just being like not necessarily new, but like fun or interesting decks. So Will doesn't know what those 5 decks are. So what we're going to do now is we're gonna go through some of those and just get Will's impression, because Will has a ton of modern experience, and so just get his impression of each one quickly, whether he thinks it's good or bad, or whether he likes it or hates it, or thinks it's lame, or the person who created it should be executed. Whatever Will's thoughts are on the deck, we're going to go. So we have that ready. Let's go ahead and bring up the first one. Omnath Bring to Light. We've got Bring to Light to cheat in Valky, since we're not allowed to cascade it into it anymore. We have Scape Shift as an option for a long game kill. Will, what do you think of this?
I'm a big fan of this deck. I've seen it floating around. I've seen a lot of lists not incorporating a main deck sweeper to bring to light for. I think that the fact that this player has included a Supreme Verdict, I think that's awesome. I love that they have 8 great instant speed 2-drops with Crow Spiral and Remand. I think this deck is really, really strong. Obviously we don't have Field Dead anymore, but we still have the long game kill of just draw a Bring to Light or Escape Shift and cast it and get 2 Valakuts and 6 Mountains and Dome you for 36.
All right, you feel good about Remand over Mana Leak?
I do, yeah. These decks, these Scape Shift decks, they just want to buy time and they want to hit all their land drops. So like getting cards, I think is really the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay. 2 Lightning Bolts, 2 Path to Exile. That's I remember seeing at the beginning of the previous season with the Ricardo Sanchez deck. I think it was 3 Paths, 1 Bolt. Are we?
Yeah.
Is this kind of? I mean, this could just be an early metagame thing where you don't know which ones you want to prioritize at this point.
It's so hard to tell with the fact that the metagame is just brand new. I think I would like to see like only 1 Valky in this deck. You basically never want to draw it, and you can cast it. Like, I'm very suspicious of having the second copy of Valky because it's so bad to draw. And if you draw it, like a lot of the times, it's just for the niche spot of like you have like 5 or 6 lands, and Escape Shift won't do it, right? So it's like exactly that situation. So you don't need 2, I don't think. So I'd probably just play 1. That's okay.
Sure. Yeah, and like it's unfortunate that Valky is like primo number 1 card you want to get is Uro, which is no longer in the format.
Yeah. You can't get Kroxa, which is quite good. But yeah, it feels like we're gonna be Bring to Lighting to Bolt rather than. But we have this Blood Crypt, and can cast it. Bolt Tide Hollow Scholar action.
Yeah. All right. Next up, let's see. We've got the Smallpox deck is next, I think. Or there's no real order to these. Yeah. Okay. Black White Smallpox.
Okay. This deck is very cool. It's definitely very bad. This deck is really bad. If you want to win a tournament, you should not play this deck. If you want to have fun on Magic Online, you want to Smallpox some people, kill their lands, bring back another Spirit on your upkeep. That's awesome. Do that. But if your goal is to win a tournament, maybe not the best choice.
All right. So if you had to play Black White Smallpox or 8-Rack, which one would you go with?
I'd probably go with 8-Rack. I feel like you can cheese some people. Like some people are just playing combos and they just like, you just play against combo decks and you just have 20 discard spells in your deck or whatever. And like, probably aren't that many white ley lines. And Lingering Souls I love that card. I cast it a lot when it was a reasonable card that you could play, and like the games were about that, but they're not about that anymore, and that's okay. We just got to move on. Like just accept it.
All right, Will Krueger, no stamp of approval for this one. Next up,
Black White
we have, if we're going in the previous order, we have the Bant Stoneforge with Toski.
Whoa, that's okay. Well, that's a lot of Toskis. I'd maybe not play that many Toskis because it's 4 mana, it's legendary. It's not even that powerful if you have it going. I mean, it's good. Like, it's cool. I'd be down to play like 1 or 2 Toskis. I think these Bant decks are super cool. I think playing Anthonyte over Path to Exile is less cool.
Really? Why is that?
So just traditionally, like the Oblivion Ring stuff is vulnerable to like you get an ETB guy, they abrupt decay it, they get it back or whatever. And also like people play Ghost Quarter, people play some people play Pillage, sometimes like I don't know. Your lands just get destroyed. Your Anthonyte gets destroyed. It's just so much more vulnerable. I would just prefer the much more consistent Path to Exile, even though it's much worse at taking out a 1-drop. usually these decks are cool to go to a long game, and like a turn 8 Path to Exile is like you give them their 9th land. Who cares? Like
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. So if you only get to play one of Sword of Feast and Famine or Sword of Fire and Ice, which one are you going to play?
Well, it's actually tricky because before I would definitely say Feast and Famine because I thought Feast and Famine was so important versus Field of Dead. And I was about to snap it off there, but then I remember they banned Field of Dead and Primeval Titan, so it gets closer. I don't know. I'd probably go with Feast and Famine. I don't know. It's a lot more powerful against combo, generally speaking, because you can just like develop a threat, hit, and then untap my lands, and then hold up counter magic still, which is quite good. But Fire and Ice, like you just never have to play a threat, and you get to draw extra cards and find your counter spells. So it's kind of close. I like that they've included both.
Sure.
But I'd probably play Feast and Famine. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the. I mean, the Toski will draw the cards anyway, and Feast and Famine will probably get you through more stuff, I think. But Maul of Skycleaves definitely is a reasonable alternative to one of them. We saw that one of the other decks today. Okay, we're getting closer to the end of the round. One match still playing. Next up, we have the white weenie deck with Righteous Valkyrie from Kaldheim.
Okay, I've got to read Righteous Valkyrie. So it's a 3-mana 2/4 with flying. Whenever another angel or cleric enters under your control.
It's a 3-mana 2/4 flyer. Whenever you have an angel or cleric come into play, you gain life equal to its toughness. And then if your life total is 27 or higher, all your creatures get +2/+2.
Okay, so this card is pretty weak generally. One of the weakest things is about it is that you have to gain 7 life. We do have 4 Martyr Sands, which does that. I don't know why we cut a Sarah Ascendant, because I kind of thought the Martyr Sarah Ascendant thing was sort of the main incentive for doing this. We have 4 equipment, which is probably too many equipment. I think Sword of Light and Shadow is just really bad, like, generally. Like, it's kind of cool with Martyr, right? And it's kind of cool with your life gain cards, so it gains life. But it's just kind of bad, Ranger Captain of Eos is dope. Maybe that's the reason to cut Sarah Ascendant, because you have access to more. And we also have Speaker of the Heavens, which is kind of new. I think it came out like last summer. And yeah, I don't know. You probably shouldn't try to play this if you're trying to win a tournament, but it's another very cool deck to hop in the Magic Online queues with and have some fun.
All right, one left. We have the Omnath Super Friends deck featuring Emrakul the Eon's Torn and Cosima.
Oh my. That's wow. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
I personally, a lot of people disagree with me on this. That's okay. I found Omnath pretty underwhelming in Modern. I found you really need to be able to take advantage of that mana on your main phase, and a lot of people just aren't able to do that. This person can. This person definitely has enough stuff to do on their main phase. They have a lot of really expensive Planeswalkers, which is very cool. So that's good. They've fixed one of my issues with Omnath. So you get to play Omnath, fetch, play Fairy 5, and that's probably just game right there against most people. And we have the Nahiri Emrakul thing, which we have not seen in a long time, but is kind of sweet. It's kind of funny to think about playing Nahiri the Harbinger when literal, actual, factual Jace the Mind Sculptor is legal in this format, but Nahiri does go to 6, and Jace dies to a lot of stuff. And Nahiri can protect herself a little better, I guess, because she can exile stuff rather than unsummoning it. But yeah, it's a cool deck. It's another maybe not the best choice for tournament, but it's a very, very cool deck. Not surprised to see it 5-0 Magic Online League at all. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, and this looks like a thing that I would play League with.
Cool. Shark Typhoon seems a little out of place when all these tap out Planeswalkers are in the deck, but there are some counters to keep your mana open for.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but it's probably okay.
But yeah, really, really neat stuff. And this again, like there are multiple different this shares some cards with the Bring to Light Valky deck, and it's just new format. People haven't figured things out quite yet, but yeah, I get a kick out of this. And I mean, Cryptic Command and Ren and 6 in the same deck. I mean, and Nahiri, like this mana is just great.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's really no problems with the mana at all. I mean, it's really just perfect. No, I mean, joking aside, the Triomes actually do a lot of work for these decks that are trying to cast exactly just be 4-color nonsense. Because if you get Raugrain and Ketria Triome, you can cast Red and 6, albeit a turn late. But then you haven't even missed a blue source yet for your crypto.
Right. I was very impressed in the Omnath Time Warp deck last season with the 2 Triomes ability to really the mana was just not really bad at all.
No, I mean the triomes are so powerful. And
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm really looking forward to when they print the other 5 triomes. Like a Bant triome would be a Bant or Esper triome would be incredible. I wanted a Naya triome for Reclaimer,
Sure.
for the Boil Splash, and it's another land name that's a Plains, and it kind of would just do it all, you know.
Mm.
Um,
All right. So the round is over. The last round of Swiss is being paired. Sounds like we have standings ready to go get the round 7 running. So after 6 rounds of Swiss,
okay,
David Goldfarb
like our Mardu player took a
lost,
loss here,
got
so he's
paired down and
5-1.
lost. So
Okay.
we had Jamie and Josh drew. David got paired down and lost, and so this is how things are shaping up right at the moment. We definitely are going to have some players playing for top 8. As you can see, is not a clean cut, so that's great.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of matches to watch with something on the line, and everybody always wants to watch people play for something rather than just playing for top 16 versus top 32, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're playing to be alive in the tournament and have outs to win, right? It looks like we're going to be watching Drew Christensen on Burn, the player we just watched against Amulet Titan, versus Dredge. Dredge is one of the worst matchups for Burn. I think that the Dredge player is a massive favorite here.
Right. I mean, is that? Do you think that based on just the interplay of the cards, or is that totally based on Creeping Chill?
It is almost entirely on Creeping Chill.
Right.
Creeping Chill is absolutely brutal, and if there's one thing that Dredge is good at, it's at milling a lot of cards and finding its Creeping Chills. And it's comically easy for it to have games where it gains 6 or 9 or even 12 life by the 4th or 5th turn. So if the Dredge player wins the die roll, it should be pretty free for them. We don't have deck lists yet, but if we could possibly pull them up, we could see how many like rest in pieces or whatever the Burn player has.
We'll get to them when they're ready, but they're sitting the players down right now and getting things set up. It's the last round of the Swiss, so the tournament directors have to figure out who's drawing, because some players we do allow draws on the Nerd Rage online events. I know some organizations are going away from allowing draws. Do you have feelings about that?
Not really. I just don't really care too much.
Yeah.
Like if you can draw, you can draw. I mean, it's even for everybody. Like going into the tournament, like that you're gonna start. Like I think draws are like kind of cheesy generally, but there's never gonna be a way that we can stop them in Paper Magic.
Right.
So like,
yeah,
it's fine. It's fine to stop them online, but
my feeling about them is that you can't realistically get rid of them in Paper Magic, and so I'm totally fine with them being on online Magic because I'm okay with online Magic trying to basically be Paper Magic as much as it can be.
I agree.
So deck lists are available. Let's go look, and in particular, we're looking at the Burn players' sideboard, like you were saying. One, Burn decks are frequently, there's not a ton of variation, but 2, sideboarding, what's going to matter here is 2 Rest in Peace and 2 Core Firewalkers. Is that enough?
Well, the Core Firewalkers almost certainly are not coming in. The Rest in Pieces are for sure coming in, obviously. And basically what's going to need to happen here is Drew is likely going to need to have one of his 2 copies of Rest in Peace in his 7 or 6 card hand for both the sideboard games, because it's so difficult for the Burn deck to actually compete with what the Dredge deck is doing. Like the cards just line up like pre-Creeping Chill a couple of years ago, and these decks were pretty much the same except for Creeping Chill. They haven't gotten that much new. It was pretty much a 50-50 because you could actually race because, Dredge has like Blood Gas that doesn't block. Amalgam enters tapped. They only really chump block with Narc Amoeba. So they weren't able to, you were kind of trying to goldfish past each other basically. But Creeping Chill changes it, so it's just what Dredge is doing is going to race the Burn player 9 times out of 10. Like,
it's really unfair, I think, that Core Firewalker and Auriok Champion are different cards because I always confuse them. But you're right, Core Firewalker is probably not coming in here.
That's true. Auriok Champion would come in, yeah.
The other Burn deck that we watched today did not have Skullcracks in the main deck. They were all in the sideboard. Skullcrack, while not maybe great, it is better against Creeping Chill, I suppose.
Yeah, it is a path, and it's going to be helpful. It is going to be kind of awkward, though, as the Burn player. There's no way for your Dredge opponent to represent Creeping Chill, right? Like, you don't really know. I mean, you want to pass on their turn that they're about to Ox, maybe, but, like, maybe they don't even have Ox in their graveyard. You don't know. So, like, whether or not you want to tap out for the Skullcracker route is really, really awkward. You generally want to err on the side of just never tap out ever. So the Skull Cracks will give Drew maybe a chance, but it's gonna be tough.
All right, so
now.
We'll go ahead and look at Brett Kroeger's Dredge Deck, which we've seen before, and like you're saying, 4 Creeping Chills, that presents a rather large advantage for Brett in the outcome of the games here.
Yeah, and Brett has 2 Nature's Claims, 2 Abrupt Decays. Some number of those will be coming in for sure to answer the 2 Rest in Pieces, I think, because he will likely identify that Drew's only route to victory is through that. With 3 Conflict Rates. That's a lot of conflict.
Right, that is a lot, yeah. Blast Zone is another card in the sideboard that can deal with the Rest in Peace. But so there's 5 altogether if Brett has a space and wants all of them. But we'll see. Okay, we're about to see how things play out. So this match is likely for a spot in the top 8. And we're looking at Brett with a 6-card hand.
The 6 is pretty weak. I think I would have preferred to go to 5 if I was Brett. We do have Forgotten Cave and Life in the Loam, which is nice, but like we're probably gonna have to fetch shock on turn 2 to play this Loam, and if we're not playing the Loam on turn 2, we're playing it on turn 3. And then we haven't done anything until turn 4. Unless you want to shock again to cycle the cave and just you're milling 3 cards on turn 3. Like I don't know. And this deck just mulligans so well. Like all you really need is just a Dredger and a Haggle and you're there.
Yep.
But looks like Brett decided to keep. I can't imagine we'll cycle his Forgotten Cave, but maybe we will. And just Merchant. Okay, now I expect Brett to not crack his fetch land.
Sure. Right.
Just draw that, fetch for mountain.
Draw that, and then you're allowed to fetch for a tapped green land, probably.
Yeah, you just use the Scalding Tarn to get Stomping Ground tapped, and then you can get Mountain off Bloodstained Mire.
Yep. That this is a case where revealing top card deck actually does change the play.
Yeah, little downside there for the Goblin Guide. Didn't even reveal a land, just told Brett not to crack his fetch. We'll see if he actually does take that line. He's thinking about it. Okay, he decides to. Okay, he decides to do that. So I would have made both decisions that Brett has made differently, but it's fine. Sure, we'll just draw Reunion anyway, and I'll look like a fool.
Well, I don't know. That wouldn't necessarily make you look like a fool.
Yeah, of course, I'm just.
But yeah, so drawing a clean card off the top here. So now we can Loam immediately.
Yeah, we're probably just getting Mountain, casting Loam, getting back our 2 fetches.
Yeah.
Kind of
sitting
then, here.
If the if the deck doesn't cooperate, I guess you can just cast a Stinkway up the next turn.
I would more likely expect us to like cast Loam and like cycle our Forgotten Cave to like get it back and just try to find Creeping Chills and get our engine online, basically finding an Ox as soon as possible. We could have considered not returning these fetches because of Ox considerations, but we'll probably be okay on that front. You could have like left 1 in the graveyard. Yeah, with
3 Conflagrates though, maybe we are incentivized to have a lot of cards in hand, but yeah.
That's a good point.
So here we are. Well, okay, this is a reasonably good start for Drew here.
Yeah.
This
is about as good a start as Drew can ask for. Eidolon's pretty bad. So we have two haste creatures. A little painful with the eyelets and stuff, but his life total isn't that relevant. So shocking for Stinkweed Imp is a play you could make.
All right, so we're going to see Loam and then cycle Cave.
Yeah, we could have put the Scalding Tarn in our hand, but I guess we want it in the graveyard for Ox considerations, which is probably fine. And we're doing it now with we want to do it now because we could hit an Amalgam with the Bloodguster Gun stack, so that makes a lot of sense. And we did not. We kind of had some nonsense on another.
Yeah, we didn't really hit anything there. I mean, Bloodghast. This is not the matchup for Bloodghast.
No, it does not block. You don't really need the pressure. That was tight sequencing that turn by Brett, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Still think I would have kept that Haggle on turn 1, but we're already down to 9. Searing Blaze here, and we're in some trouble. Land Searing Blaze, Blaze, Bolt, and we're dead.
Yep. Yeah. So, and we have
Bolt. We're dead to 2 bolts.
And we don't. I mean, there's not a Dredger in the graveyard right now.
No. So now if we have a Bolt for this Narcomoeba, we're attacking for 6 on turn 3.
Well, yeah, not only, I mean, there may not be, okay, well.
Whoa. We just could have bolted this Narcomoeba, right? Why are we getting a turn?
Well, bolting the Narcomoeba would have well, that doesn't change anything, right? Because it blocked the 3 card.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought the
Blocked
Swiss
three
Spear.
card.
I thought the Swiss Spear was 4. That's totally my
Yeah.
fault. I'm sorry. I thought the Swiss
But
Spear
I
was 4.
think okay, well we do all right, we can dredge 3. We can pick up the Forgotten Cave and cycle that. But this is all that Brett has here, and he needs a ton, and
We hit a chill,
that
but
is
that
not
is probably not enough.
no, it's not enough. I mean, if well,
No.
Drew has 3 cards in hand. If they're 3 lands, which is unlikely since he didn't play one last turn.
Yeah, they could be 3 Eidolons.
That's
You think he's got 3
true.
Eidolons in hand?
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of don't, but 3 Eidolons and then draws the 4th or draws a land.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
dead.
So Brett
They
absolutely has routes to victory here.
Yeah, they could be all Rift Bolts too.
Discarding sync up to hand size. Okay, that's another reason for picking up all the lands that you could earlier. Is it allows the discard to hand size. It's too late to matter this game.
Yeah, now
but, and there's there was plenty of burn.
So
Doesn't even need to attack.
So I guess.
So
yeah, Brett more
Burn
or less hit his
steals
fail
game
rate.
1.
Yeah, Brett hit his fail rate. And just kind of rolled over and died.
And now, like drawing Rest in Peace and
yeah,
using out game. Only have to do it once. Yeah, only have to do it once instead of twice. That gives you a lot of mulligans over 2 games to try and find it. Yep. And yeah, I mean so let's go back and look at the Dredge, since Dredge is down the game here. So we know what we want to bring in. What are the cards that we can trim out? Bloodghast doesn't seem great. Confederate doesn't seem great. Is that it, or is there other stuff you think you want to pull?
Yeah, Bloodghast is not the best, because obviously you're basically playing defensively. You do need to kill them. I don't think you can take out all, because you do need like amalgam enablers and stuff, and an amalgam is one of your better cards. You can definitely cut one on the conflagrates. I think 3 is really excessive, and I'm surprised that Brett's registered 3. But maybe that's like catching for Heliod or something, or like prowess. Like, it makes some sense. Dark Blast doesn't kill anything, so it's probably your worst dredger.
Sure.
And merchants. So when you're playing dredge, you have to be really cognizant of like it's a lot of trimming, so you have to be like aware of how many enablers you have, how many dredgers you have, how many payoffs you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the times, like when you're playing against humans, you can cut all your merchants for lightning axes. I don't think that's the case against Drew or against Burn, because the sand is good. He does need to peel second land though, but that's not the case against Burn, because they'll keep like 3 lava spikes and a Rest in Peace. You know what I mean? And then your axes are stuck in your hand, and they could be merchants.
Mm-hmm.
Even though axe will be better in game 1 generally, because they need a creature to really beat you.
I wonder if it's possible you can give thought to just sideboarding so that basically sideboarding so that you assume that your opponent is going to have Rest in Peace in play, and so you think if they don't have Rest in Peace, I'll just win, even though that's not the way game 1 played out.
Yeah, and it is generally true though.
You sideboard so they'll have it, and then if you're able to blow it up or they don't draw it, then the leftovers of your normal dredge plan is still enough to win, which might be the case.
That is a huge draw for Brett there. Second land is
right. Second land critical off the Goblin Guide. So without that land off the Goblin Guide, then I guess you can't even really dredge. Well, I guess you would
can't do anything. You're taking
you can't do anything. You're
done. Well, you do dredge because you know that they have a spell on top.
Yeah,
but, Now, I mean, we're dredging. We milled 15.
Good luck with your Rest in Peace. Yeah. You're welcome to it.
Yeah. I think we're getting back 2 amalgams here, 2 Narcomoebas, and Healer Singam twice. So good luck. Have fun, friend. Yeah. So I just think this keep is okay. If we didn't have the claim, I would want to go to 5, but I think this is a good keep with the claim, with the dredgers, with the redraw with haggle, like. But yeah, this draw, I mean, there's not much to say about this game. There's not really much Drew could do. I guess it's still not. I mean, even like the thing is, he needs a Rest in Peace to win, and we just have the claim rolled up. And I guess we don't have another enabler, so we could like draw.
Even the Rest in Peace to win, he's still taking. He's just gonna. I mean, 8 anyway.
It's some weird combination of like Rest in Peace this turn for sure, because otherwise, like we're probably gonna be oxing or returning Bloodghast, and then we have 2 bolts for these amalgams. And then they stay exiled somehow, and like we can never get anything going ever again, and we stabilize at like 3 life or something. Mm-hmm. Somehow beating the 2 Narcomoebas pecking away.
Yeah, and then that hard cast creepy joke kills you in 5 turns.
Yeah. It's going to be really hard for Drew to win, but sometimes you're just on the draw against Dredge. No rest in peace should be game. We hit Nox too, so we just get to do it all here.
But 5 of the 6 cards in hand are uncastable, and the other one has no target. How could this be good?
Yeah, Dredge is a special thing.
Yeah, it sure is. But this game is really explosive. This is obviously when you draw it out. This is what you're hoping for. Actually, that's not. You're probably not even hoping for this much.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, wow, I get to start with this, and my opponent didn't play Rest in Peace on turn 2, and if he did, I had a claim for it. Like, I don't know. It's just a had it all, very, very much a had it all scenario, right? Like, nothing that Drew could have done. Just sometimes in Magic formats when you're playing with Dredge or various combo decks or whatever, games just happen like this, you know?
Yeah. So Drew will get another shot at this.
Yeah,
he gets to go first.
With the Rest in Peace in his deck. So
yeah, he gets to go first. So even if he does draw the Rest in Peace, it won't be in a situation where he could cast it and still die, like it was this game.
Yeah.
It will be good if he finds it. As Brett continues developing here,
yeah, I mean, this game is just...
Drew is, I guess, just looking at how Brett sideboarded at this point. There's nothing else to be gained here.
Yeah, I mean, this game is not winnable for Drew. It's just, can I see, like, how he sideboarded, and can I use that in any way, basically? Yeah. Which maybe he will. So good on Drew for not conceding and just getting all the info. Good call.
Yeah.
He looks upstairs. Nice. 17 to 9. You know, that'll close up that race.
So yeah, okay. And that's that. So we go to game 3, and there we saw a peak. The Abrupta case did not come in. Although maybe it's possible that Dredge is thinking, I can beat a Rest in Peace some of the time going first, and then worry about it more when they're going first. Because like we saw that time, Rest in Peace was no good.
Yeah,
because
it makes sense
the
to me.
Is too good.
Because like having that draw is just having an answer to Rest in Peace, right? Like it didn't matter if Drew had it. We had the claim rolled up anyway, but even if the claim was an Uno card or whatever, like we were good.
Yeah, there's some of my ideas that I've kind of been expressing here around about from an very old article about playing Dredge in Vintage that I remember reading probably more than 10 years ago. And a Dredge expert was watching another Dredge expert play, and they went sideboarding, and the player watching was expecting how the other player would sideboard, and the other player didn't. And he's like, what is going on? I don't understand what this person's doing. And they eventually realized that what the player was doing was, all right, listen, I win game 1 because I'm Dredge and I win a lot of game 1s. Game 2, I'm just going to find out how they sideboarded. And then game 3, I'm going to sideboard against their sideboard.
Yeah, that's okay sometimes.
Yeah.
But usually, like, in this day and age, you can figure out, like, okay, they have rest. I mean, this specific tournament is open deck list.
I know. This kind of it's kind of an antiquated idea of thinking about things, but I thought it was neat, just like the idea of, like, well, I'm not even going to worry about it in one of the games because it's probably not going to matter anyway. In that game, certainly we didn't. This game, we have the Rest in Peace, and we have Nature's Claim, and
we do have the claim. We have a reunion on 2, so we just kind of have it all here.
Yeah, Drew had 2 Rest in Peace in the deck. I mean, if you drew them both.
Yeah, I mean, if this reunion doesn't put a bunch of power into play, and then we have a second Rest in Peace, then we're good. But if I was Drew, I would literally keep 6 lands Rest in Peace, I think, and just pray.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, what kind of draw was this for Brett? Holy cow.
Pretty much just the nuts. Just reunion with 2 dredgers and a claim for the rip.
Drawing 2 Narcometers, that stinks. But
it's not great, but you know.
Wow.
I mean, we do need this Dredge to be okay. This Dredge is quite good. Okay, so we don't get any. We do get 1 Amalgam and a Narco, and we get to Helix them once. Second Rest in Peace. This is a game for sure. If we have second Rest in Peace, but it's without that, it's going to be tough.
We got half of what we had last game. Last game we had 2 of each card. In this game we got 1 of each, and that's probably still enough. Like you're saying, unless there's another Rest in Peace here.
It needs to be Rest in Peace like this turn. I mean, I guess like, okay, if we're passing with Skullcrack up, and then we have another burn spell as our other card, and then we draw another burn spell,
Sure.
then that could lead to victory. So
There's only
it's not over. It's not over.
There's only 2 cards in Drew's hand.
Yeah, so he needs to have Crack for Helix this turn, and then have another Bolt in hand to put him to 6. Oh, no. Yeah, we're too short. Okay, never mind. We're burn spell short.
All right. But, I mean, Drew's at 19. There's 4 damage coming over. There's... Well, yeah, it's going to get worse.
Yeah,
but not, like, dramatically worse. There's no Ox.
No, yeah, nothing really happens this turn. Like, we just pick up some lands. We'll probably put this Conflag in our graveyard. We can hold it because maybe the only way we lose is Rest in Peace, and we might be want to hard cast it in some world, some Rest in Peace world. Or it's discard of the hand size. That works too. Keep your mountain on tap for free, I guess. I guess you could just, yeah, I mean, whatever, same.
All right, Drew, you still got a chance. You could crack the fetch. You could crack that land just while you're at Rest in Peace right here.
That might have been the play, but because we even still have Skullcrack mana available if we were to crack the Sunbaked Canyon. I mean, because now we just get domed for 8 minimum, right? And okay, I'm a little surprised we didn't cast Life from the Loam to Conflag for more. Maybe we just wanted to hit Ox. That seems fine, I guess. But yeah, I assume we're just gonna put Drew to 3 with this Conflagrate, so he can't draw Rest in Peace. But maybe that's too aggressive.
Were we passing? Was that
okay? Little surprised. At that.
Okay, so now, well, I mean, yeah, Rest in Peace is still alive.
Yeah, I mean, Rest in Peace plus a Bolt on this Amalgam would be
a very passive turn.
I'm really surprised we didn't just deal a mate.
Oh
my god! The second Rest in Peace! And okay, I mean, we got a game again.
Yeah. We
didn't draw another Nature's Claim for Brett. Okay.
Drew has 2 cards left in hand.
Yeah.
The Stinkweed and such can be cast now, but
take 3 to cast a Stinkweed.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of life.
Yeah, and the Stinkweed might even have to block. It didn't even get cast.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think it's okay to not go to 7.
Yeah, he doesn't.
But if Drew's flooding out, then Brett can handle it with the beatdowns. But if he just has any way to deal with this, okay. So it looks like a full-on race here. We're just gonna put him to 5. Do we have a skewer?
4 that puts him to 1. That turns off the fetch land. That's huge.
Okay. And now we need to leave back a blocker. We do get to send the Amalgam sideways and leave the Narcomoeba back to chump. But the problem is he's at 7, not 6. Well, it's a 2/3 that we can cast.
Castable creature.
Yeah, and we definitely want to lead on this in case we rip Claim because we have the Painless Mountain. Okay, so we just have to cast a 2/3 now, and then shove for 4, and then Drew's got to peel a burn spell.
Right.
And anything
or else,
though.
Or else Drew is,
Or we're gonna play around Haze Creature. Okay, that's probably
sure.
Smart.
Well, this doesn't. This doesn't even play. Oh yeah, because we can play that. Yeah, I'm sorry. We can play the Merchant, so we are playing around Haze Creature. Okay, Eidolon's no good.
Yeah, it needs to be a way to deal damage this turn. Banning costs. Oh, that's insane! Oh, that's so insane!
Wow.
Oh my god, I can't believe Drew won that game. He drew both his copies of Rest in Peace.
He did, but
that's
the second one, he had to survive.
So awesome! Wow.
Yeah, jeez. So Brett.
Feel bad for Brett though. You know, he
very
only has
passively there.
Did yeah.
We have a backup match, so we're not going to spend too much time discussing this until the round's over with. Well, take us in as soon as it's ready. As soon as
I
you
can't
are ready,
that game played out like that. That's
us right in. Yeah, that was okay.
We have another Dredge match. Okay, and we're watching Naya Zoo against Dredge.
And there's Wild McConnell, and there are
This is another pretty good matchup for Dredge. Dredge usually preys on these like fair creature aggressive decks.
Are you now? Maybe you're just wrong. I mean, you were certainly called the last one wrong.
I did call that wrong. I will say I think Brett might have mishandled that third game there.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have dealt a lot with that conflagrate at some point.
Wow, this is a landfall. Yeah, we have step links on the board. Is that a wolf run board?
That is a Kessig wolf run.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those in a while.
Talk about a blast from the past. Kessig wolf run.
Yeah. Okay, now Ox of Agonis is okay. Seems like a free block, but it's may not want to block because it's a lethal attack on the way back. That's reasonable to consider at least. And
yeah, but like the late game is just it's rolled up. Oh, we only have 10 cards in our deck, so I guess we could deck. I'm not sure how many Creeping Chills we've used as Dredge though. I can't see the exile, and we just got here, so
right. Christian Keffer is down a game. It looks like
it's Owen.
I'm sorry.
It's Owen. It's the player that we don't have the name for.
Oh. Okay, so blocks are been thought about and now chosen. Here we go. Wolf Run is not required to trade anything, although it could push a little damage through. There's a fetch land, but yeah, 16 life is a lot.
If we're just activating Wolf Run here, it's and that's not really enough, right? I mean, no. I see we've Creeping Chilled 2 or 3 times this game, so we're just at a very nice healthy life total.
We didn't even fetch to push through damage there. Yeah,
that's a little surprising to me that we didn't do that. But we're holding up some kind of instant. I don't know what it is, but we definitely have something to do with this plains and probably this fetch
land. Yeah, Christian has 3 cards in hand. I mean, this deck. I mean, we haven't seen the deck list yet. Could reasonably have Path to Exile in it. That would make sense.
I would assume it's that, and he probably didn't want to go to 7 because that's kind of scary. But we do only have 6 power in play, so it would have been.
Right, and having a path is going to prevent some of that. I mean, we only put our opponent to 12. So, sure, if we have the means to stay alive, that's great. But we need to push the damage, or it's not going to be there next turn either. Unless, I mean, I don't know. I guess as long as we don't need to break the fetch land, the links can still pump next turn.
He could be holding up a Lightning Helix. I'm not sure if he has a second copy of Mountain. You really don't want to fetch shock for a Helix. It kind of, okay, looks like we do have the path.
But I don't want, if I'm fetching for a tapped land here to save life, why didn't I do it to push damage through?
Exactly. I think I would have likely fetched, and just, if you want to get a tap land, that's fine. It's just, you want to get the, okay, so we have 1 conflagrate in the graveyard, or in the library, and an amalgam, and nothing else is really of much use, outside of the Ox, I suppose.
Yeah. All right, so...
How would we lose this game? I guess we could be saving up for like a big turn and like we team or battle rage our step links or something. I don't know if this is a team or battle rage deck, but like that's one reason to hold it, right?
I suppose.
Some way to double it.
If we did, I would think we would have just seen that plus the fetch land instead of the Wolf Run activation last turn.
Oh yeah, we would have just done it then. So yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, well, actually, we would have done it on the Nicodle probably to keep it alive and blow through the Ox. So that's not it.
We are out of chills here. So if Christian is able to assemble a kill through a 5/3 and a 1/1 blocker here from 12 life, which is not easy, but if he is able to do it, then he's got it because we're not going to be able to produce anything else off this Ox.
Okay, so now we're being told that this was the backup match we jumped into. We're not 100% that this is the correct game score.
It does seem likely to me because Dredge winning game 1 against these like fair beatdown decks, like
right.
It does seem like it's correct. Although Christian may have stolen a sideboard game or something.
Okay, so the Ox comes in.
We're just taking natural draws here because there's nothing to really mill over, and you don't want a deck, so you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing a little cautiously, which is good. I'm not sure how Christian is going to be able to win this game.
Well, another Path to Exile would help quite a bit as far as the decking count goes. And
the issue is this conflagrates is we're just able to take 2 draw steps. And Deal 5 up top.
All
We
right,
have
so there's a fetch. Okay, so that was the links to the 2/3. Burning off 2 more fetches would make it a 6. If there was a battle rage, that would be lethal.
Yeah, you can get the step links up to 9 and trample this turn with the wolf run, but that's not even close to enough. Well, we have exactly enough if Dredge didn't have blockers, but we have 2 blockers,
Right?
So that's irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, if the blockers both get burned through here, which
yeah, but then we're spending mana on that and not the wolf run, so then we go back to being short.
Yeah,
annoying.
but we wouldn't be dead on the attack next turn.
This is true. The issue is the 3/3 can shove, and then the conflagrate is going to deal us 4. But if we have like a helix for this amalgam, then maybe we're in okay shape.
How would this even work? If there is a helix, so we have to fetch. So we go to if we fetch to go to 4 to kill the ox, and then we get to 7, we'd still be dead. No, because we'd helix the amalgam, so we would be not taking the combat damage. This is close, but it looks like the Naya Zoo deck's gonna come up short, but it looks close.
Yeah, if we have it's gonna be close. It basically depends on how good Christian's hand is here.
There's potential, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if we just have a helix for this amalgam, I think we're actually just kind of okay. We might just be able to deck our opponent.
We need the second fetch in order to have the links survive. I don't know if that matters. Looks like it doesn't.
This sort of gonna let the links die, which is
okay.
I guess. I assume we have some way to deal with this amalgam. Otherwise, we just try to block it, right? And not be dead to this conflagrate, because we can only deal 4 with it here, because we don't have enough lands to loam and then conflag. Okay,
Perch. That's not enough.
Well, we still are. We still only have. Oh no, we have. When do we go to 4? Okay, my bad. We use the fetch. I see.
Yeah.
Missed that.
So it's going to come down to exact damage. Although given the board state,
yeah, I think we should be.
The Dredge Deck could just wait another turn if it had to do another. If it was 5.
Yeah,
or 6.
If it was 5, then
yeah.
But yeah, looks like Dredge was able to pull it out in what I think was a pretty good matchup. Just like Naya Zoo is like it's like dorky creature beatdown deck that like getting helixed twice is like a disaster, and like your creatures are about as good as Prize Amalgam, and you have to spend mana on them instead of getting them for free. And like also when they die, they die.
They come in tapped. I mean, that makes up for them being free, right?
They do come in tapped. The old 0 mana 3/3 ETB tapped, and you get like 3 of them, and you get a 5/3 that comes in untapped and can block. The fact that card can block is so sick, because it actually just lets you stabilize boards so well. You get 1 blocker, you probably get an Archimedes, you probably get a chill. Like I think Dredge is actually pretty legit. But because one of the problems with it before was that you would actually get overpowered by Uro and Field. Like they could just compete with what you're doing. Like yeah, you wanted to chill me out and then hit me with some blood gas. Shame I gained 18 off this Uro. Like, sorry.
So let's go ahead and look at Christian Keffer's deck list, the Naya deck that we just watched, even though it lost, because I'm curious to see the build of this deck. This is something we haven't seen elsewhere today.
Wow, we are really doing it here, huh? A lot of landfall creatures, a lot of red and 6. Okay, very cool deck.
All the landfall creatures, yeah. Knights, really. It's nice that Renegade Rallier can bring back red and 6. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's a nice little thing there. Like they kill your red and 6, they spell snare it, or they mana leak it, or whatever, and then you just get back that, or you can get back your brush fire, and then you play your fetch, and you just crack them for 1 million. It's pretty legit. We got Wild Nicodle because we're playing Naya and we're being aggressive, so makes enough sense.
Play set of Lone Missionary on the board. That's the 2 mana. It's a 2/1 gain 4 life, I think.
Yeah, 2 mana 2/1 ETBs, and you gain 4. It's good against burn. I'll tell you that much.
Only 1 rest in peace. Yeah, 1 for rest in peace, 1 Tormod script. Yeah, and
not
this
much Dredge hate.
and
And the
one Celestial Purge. Drew the wrong one of the 3 at the end there.
yeah, right. And Crypt is good, but it's beatable for Dredge a lot of the time. Like it's
Mm,
just one activation. If they just sandbag a second enabler or are able to peel one, it's just like they're just back where they started
yeah,
really quick. And the good Dredge players aren't. You have to play the Crypt out and show them, because if you don't, they could just explode. And if you show them, then they're able to slow down appropriately and pace how much they do.
yeah. All right, let's look at the Dredge deck, which we will be seeing in our top 8.
Yeah.
And this is, let's see, in what any ways is this distinctive from the other one?
Yeah, we have 2 Conflag, 3 Ox,
Yeah.
as opposed to the other way around from
Mm,
the deck that we just saw lose its win into burn. We have 4 Nature's Claim for Rest in
right.
Peace, though
No
abruptly
abrupt
caved.
decays this time.
Got 4 Lightning Axes. Yeah, this deck looks pretty good to me. We have
Yeah,
4
well,
Amalgams, 3 Blood Gas, as opposed to the other way around from the other player. But this is just kind of details.
mhm.
But
But
yeah,
good enough, and into the top 8. So that is going to be the last round of the Swiss. We have 3 rounds left today, the 3 elimination rounds. We have 8 players we'll have 8 players left battling out for $2,000. When we come back, this break's going to be a little bit longer, as things need to be set up for the top 8 to begin. Players have to fill out, or I guess virtually fill out, a little bit of paperwork, and then we'll have the deck list and a bracket ready to go for you. So thanks for being with us today. We got probably in the ballpark of 2.5 hours left. If you want to go all the way through, as we're seeing who is our modern champion of the day.
yep.
Stick around. We'll be back in closer to maybe 5